Good to go. So, the topic for today is being a better manager. I did this seminar called Moving Forward Seminar by Corporate Edge, and I'm just sharing some of the notes I took with them, which really helped me. Like, took my. But before I get into that, I'm gonna. So think of this as there was a big company. This big company had their own stores and they had franchise stores. The ones they franchised out were through so many different people from different walks of life. A lot happen to be people from overseas or people who are hiring a lot of people from overseas. And because these people didn't have proper working visas or things like that, they would abuse the staff. They would order extra and claim it as wastage so they could take the stuff home for themselves. They really messed up the whole company's reputation and business in lots of ways. So what this company did was we're going to start taking over all these franchisees and make it all our own corporate, what do you call it, flagship store or whatever you want to call that name. And while this was happening, I had been made redundant. So I was originally a graphic designer. But because these guys were so desperate to just take over these stores, they hired anyone and everyone. And me being from a graphic background, I had done mortgage broking diploma. So the company I was working with was into all that. These guys just gave me a job as a manager. Now they take me to training. I was meant to be trained for 5 weeks. Big up to Gio if he ever watches this. He was one of the legendary store managers. So they would send people to him all the time. And he was so thorough, so good. Like he told me that I was one of his best students because I picked it up. Because the first day I went to see him, he's like, "But you're not even in retail. You don't know nothing about retail. You don't know merchandising. You don't know this, da da da. You're a graphic designer." And I'm like, "Look, man, I'm so hungry. I'm so desperate to feed my family and get back on track on things. Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes." So I used to walk 38 minutes from the airport to his store because I didn't even have a car then. And with my first paycheck, I started paying for cars and getting things, all that. So that's the personal story. But I was meant to train for 5 weeks. Within 4 weeks, they're like, "No, we're going to send you to a store." They send me to the dodgiest store where people would fill fuel, leave their keys in the car, and someone would rob them while they come and pay. Like, it's one of those dodgy areas. The toilet was full of people doing, you know, stuff. So it was a really I was thrown into the deep end, like super deep end, and I loved being thrown into the deep end, but this was so deep that I had to try and get a demotion for myself to go to another store because I was under really bad leaders. Two, let's call them succubuses. But once I got into the other store, I'm off to get back into manager position, and I was stealing people's jobs, man. I was like, "You guys don't want to do the work? I will do the work. I'll do night shift. I'll wake up in the morning. I'll do day shift. I'll work on the weekends in the kitchen. The ladies in the kitchen were fighting all the time." So yeah, uh, now we go into the seminar itself. So it starts off. It has some quick notes, which is great culture at work has to be created, and we've all seen this so many times. Like it's certain exercises you can do. It's certain things you can do every day to drive good behavior, good culture, and all that. But the store I was, the ecosystem I was working in, blame culture everywhere. That is why I had to get out of that position to manager status in another store. After that, I was given like I went through at least 7 stores, and my last final days there, I was managing 2 stores. I don't know if I'll get into that, but let's get back into this. So the second note is replace yeah but and change it into and so. And this is a very big thing in improv comedy, and it's also a very good advice for when you're in a relationship whether it's a romantic one, a friendship, or whatever, instead of yeah, but is always a it's like a stop. While and so or yes and is the improv thing that takes what they've said and you can redirect it from there to whatever but you have. You just don't say the but, just say and. Oh, how about this also and that and so da da da. There's a video there called "The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us" by Dan Pink, and the summary of that is it's not always money. Like you see a lot of people getting incentives, which is money, and he's saying they've seen time and time again it's not money. Every now and then I think to myself, I wish it was. I would like, some incentives like that, but maybe that's just me. So the next thing we get into is the 4 reasons for poor performance, and it's knowledge, skill, tools, and desire. It's like a flow chart. So the source, observation, one-on-one feedback, performance review, all that good stuff. What is the trigger for my concern with their performance? What am I feeling about someone's performance? Identify or behavior is below expectation. So let's be very specific of what you've seen and what you want to improve and make it time bound. I used to make it time bound. Clarity and focus on the specific issue. What are the possible causes? So, is it knowledge? Do they know the correct process, the information required to do the task, stuff like that? And most of the time, I think we'll talk about it in this, but managers should not be in the mentality of customer is always right. They are there for their team. And managers don't manage people, managers manage systems. So hopefully we get into that later. But yeah, if their knowledge is lacking, what training, onboarding has been provided? Do they understand the expectations of the role? And I used to have so many challenges with some of the staff who are so used to, because like I said, they were in the previous franchise and we were taking over these stores. So they were used to not working according to compliance, not being compliant with all the new rules and regulations that the main flagship wanted to get back into. So we were like, look, that's how you did it in franchise. We can't do that anymore. You can't just sit on your phone. You can't just sit in the office playing video games in your night shift. There's so much work to be done. Or you can take a break, but we are going to have to cut that out of your pay if that happens. So just giving them knowledge. I used to give a lot of training, and we always had a lot of printouts of the steps that they should follow. I'm like, okay, this step you're fine, that step you're fine, this step you're fine. This is where you're going wrong. Um, I'll give you an example. A big one was cleaning. There was one guy who knew the blue mop was for the store, the red mop was for toilet and dirty places, and the green mop was for the kitchen only. Food should be separate from the store. Store was separate from the loo, of course. So, and this guy didn't care. So we were like, look, the next time we see this, it's not only going to be an issue with the store, it's going to be a legal issue for you. So if you don't do that, then we're going to have to escalate it to places we don't want it to go. So it's all up to you what you want to do next. Which is another thing. You can't just fire people, which is kind of tough sometimes, because sometimes these people, my gosh, man, they were just there for the money. Just do nothing for hours. I want my money and done. Okay, so that was knowledge. Number 2 is skills. Do they have the experience and technical proficiency to apply the knowledge? Now, if someone didn't have the knowledge, especially one of the stores I was doing was food. If they didn't have the knowledge in food, they wouldn't go into the food. And then if they showed interest in the food, we'd be like, okay, look, how about we start getting you into dating things at the moment? Say when it was opened and how many due dates. For meats, it was 4 days. For salads, it was 6 days. Stuff like that. Just get used to. unpacking food, putting it in the right places in the freezer, and dating them so we know which ones, how to rotate everything. Coach them, mentoring, feedback, give them, watch them do stuff. Which is which of the four reasons are affecting the issue? So, what are the four reasons? Has there been coaching provided? Opportunities to would help acquire? What steps can be taken to address the issue? What is my role as a leader to address the issue? Which other people should I involve in addressing this issue? And what are the next steps? Now, tools for me, tools are always have always been a big thing because every time I've had something stopping me from going to the next level or being better or just getting into something, it's because the setup was not right, the tools were not right, and stuff like that. Once I got that set up, I was like a wizard. So, do they have the appropriate tools, processes, systems, and structure to perform the skill? What hardware, resources, access, and information are required? So you can make a list of what is needed, what they would need, when they would need it, all that. And then number four, desire. Is the individual aligned and passionate about the role? A lack of desire can be caused by one of the two things: wrong culture, wrong job. If they're in the wrong culture, has the performance deteriorated as the culture changed? Uh, I'll get it. Oh, let me just tell you now. So, because a lot of these guys we used to get were uni students coming from overseas, they were coming from a different country where they were used to different things. And one of the biggest ones I found till today, even now, like it's men not being able to take uh, any kind of instruction, feedback, or just any kind of challenge from a woman. And that's I don't know, to me that's fragile masculinity. And to me it doesn't matter what gender you are, as long as you can take whatever they're saying. And I'll try and link, or if you go to my blog parasuniversal.com and look for criticism or feedback, and you'll see a list of steps you can follow to be better at taking feedback, because I'm always self-critical of myself. So when someone's critical of me, I've I just tear it down, man. I'm like, okay, this is what they said. This is right. This is not right. So this I can ignore. This seems more emotional. They're just pissed off. So I can ignore the emotional side of things and focus on the things I can improve. So that's for those people. But that was culture. Like different people come from different cultures, the way they talk to each other and stuff like that. And they're in the wrong job. So like I said, uni students, they just want money. They just want to do the hours. So uh, being in the wrong job, I don't know. To me, even if I was in the wrong job, maybe I'm a people pleaser. Maybe I just like doing things the right way. So, or maybe I just feel like I need to catch up. So I just want to be the best in all of it. But yeah, so that's that. And then there's this part called disenfranchised. What has changed in the relationship with the leader? What has changed in the scope of the role? So I had one guy who was used to working on the weekends, and weekend was the best pay. Uh, his quietest time because a lot of people wouldn't be coming to fill the fuel, or not busy time. The surrounding area there wasn't a lot of work. All the offices and stuff was closed. So this guy was having a good life, and we would tell him, these we need to add some more things to you. You can't just keep topping up condiments in around the store. You need to take the oil out, recycle the oil, do this, do that. And he was not very happy with me telling him this. So at some point he's like, he's being racist, this and that. Luckily, that time there was another manager who knew how the person was, and he dealt with this person the same way. Like he had the same experience. So they're like, look, I don't think this story is working out for you, especially if you're going to hold on to those 2 days when other people also want uh, to work weekends. Sometimes they want good money, like it's franchise life, and that The flagship was very different. Like there's a bit of what do you call it? Legally, if you keep giving this person the same shifts, they'll get used to it. Then they can take you to court, or they can escalate it and be like, look, this is the pattern I've been in, and now they've changed it. Da, 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 da. And the bigger store didn't want to do what the franchise were doing, and they were like, no, we need to keep everyone on toes, just the same way we do promo change all the time. Promo change was nuts. Same thing in this aisle, just move it over here and move the shelves, or just to keep customers on their toes also. But yeah, so on the next page, you have the four things we've already talked about: knowledge, skills, tools, and desire. And then there's a table which you can fill out. So the first three tables look like the same, where you say issue identified, area of focus, my role, others to involve, next step. But the one for desire, there is two separate tables. One says issue identified, area to focus, next step, okay, and disenfranchised, issue identified, area to focus, disenfranchised. Oh, so it's the same thing. So yeah, that was that slideshow. Now, I think this was over a few days. So day one, the session one was leadership at so and so company, whatever company we were, creating an environment for success. Leaders have the ability to inspire and challenge. Challenge is so important. People don't want to um, just be inspired all the time. They want to be like, okay, you know what? Yes, you could have done better here. How about we think about how you can do things better there? Or I can see you are working towards wanting to be better in so and so. You want to do good in here. So, what do you think about we do something about that? Uh, there's two leadership styles they're talking about: the command and control, and the high performance culture leader. So there's two tables: command and control compared to high performance culture. One is you work for pay. The other one is care for care. Now, I'll say it now. I don't fully agree with the new style. I think we need to merge both, because anytime someone is asked what is their important job, even when I applied for prisons, if you didn't say that the pay was the important thing, they wouldn't give you the job, because they know that comes first. So pay is very important. That's your bread and butter. So this care for care, I get it. It's very nice. All these new age guys, oh, we are heart centered and uh, solopreneurs and all these magicpreneurs and whatnot. Listen, money. You need money. The other table on those is in the command and control is it's transactional, while in high performance culture it's engagement. Hmm. I think because I've already talked about uh, games people play. It's a psychology book which I did a live on. Even engagement is transactional in its own way. So if you want to get into that, you can get into that in that video. It's very nice. I highly recommend it. It's called Games People Play. Command and control is fear, while high performance is trust. I do believe trust is so much better. Like you get so much more out of it. So I agree with that one. Then there's command and control parent child, while high performance culture is adult to adult. Another video I've already done. And actually, it is the same video, games people play. So in games people play, there's this three circles of one person interacting: parent, adult, child. In the other person, there's parent, adult, child. I'll just give you a quick rundown. A parent would be like, you always do these kind of things, and their child will reply, because you're talking as a parent, their child is inclined to reply, yeah, but you always treat me like this, la, la, la. But adult to adult, in the middle circle is like, look, I've noticed this repeating pattern happening in this case. What can we do to change, or can we come across? Yes, I would love to. I've been thinking about fixing this. I would love to have a meeting or find ways we can do something about it. So that's adult to adult. I like that. I like that. Command and control is compliance, while high performance is ownership. And my ex sister-in-law, she she taught me something I really wish I had learned much earlier. Like I kind of had an idea of it, but I never implemented it until she repeated it quite a few times, which is wherever you work, treat it like it's your own business. Like treat it like it's your own, then you can, it just helps you in so many ways. So if you're compliant, you're just listening to someone, that means that manager needs to be micromanaging, constantly looking at, oh, is he doing this, is he doing that. While ownership, manager can go, I can say, look, you have the book, you have the list of tasks I need you to get done. I know you can get it done. So it's all yours. And then if they don't accomplish some of the things, it's all good. Like sometimes it's just like, look, these guys didn't manage to do it because so and so happened. Can the next shift please carry on? And if it's a recurring pattern, then we'll be like, how can we fix this? How can we find a better way to do things? Now here there's a table for command and control hierarchy versus the, I think the emerging model, whatever is it. So uh, the traditional model hierarchy, which I personally like. Again, I don't fully agree with this green circle where everything is just connected. I do like a hierarchy. Um, but one is centralized functional hierarchy, while the other one's decentralized leadership network. So bosses rule, while in the hierarchy, bosses rule. In the circle, the market rules. Uh, Hierarchy, it's top down. In the circle, it's outside in. Okay, sense and respond. Okay, triangle hierarchy, top management is always in charge. In the circle, frontline teams are always in charge. Now, frontline teams, the stores, the last few stores I worked in, they did it this way, which I really enjoyed because I liked working with people who already knew, what was that word? They took ownership. The staff already took ownership. So they were already in the culture. When I carried on managing that store, they were already in a very nice culture. So I was very happy about those stores. Frontline teams are always in charge. Yep. Centralized leadership, devolved leadership, high, high, hierarchical relationship, social destiny. I don't know. That sounds a bit foofy. The triangle on the left is command and control model, which is copied from the army and old way of working. The circle on the right is high performance culture model, which works better. I don't know. I don't know. I might have to read some papers and see if some proper research has been done on this. Now, the lady who took it, her name was Holly, and she spoke about managers having to spend 20 minutes to connect with staff on a personal level. And she seemed pretty obsessed with it even after managers said that there really isn't an opportunity, especially running a 24-hour store with so many customers coming and going. Most managers do find time to connect, but not the first 20 minutes. Also, a 40% change in behavior depends on managers' mood and behavior. So I agree with that for change. I don't know if 40% is measured and scientific, but the manager's mood and behavior does a lot. Imagine someone comes already tense and, oh, I'm not upset. You already feel contracted with whoever you're dealing with. You're just like slowly going to put up your walls, or depending on which culture you come from, you might already have your walls up. You might be on attack mode. You have different flight and fight responses. But this 20 minutes to connect. Now, uh, I wouldn't connect with my staff early in the morning because as soon as I go, we have to count our tills, change tills, do end of day, get the accounting, make sure it's processed on the computer. There's just too many things going on at the same time. Oh, 6 o'clock, exact 6 o'clock, we have to change the fuel price. So um, I wouldn't take that. And the other issue was some stores were so small that there was only maybe a 15-minute overlap between one shift to another, to another, to another. But I would find a way to make some time, not only to connect with them on personal, like, how's your weekend, what you've been watching, like they would give me tips on, was it Black Mirror and Blacklist and all these. So just talking to them, basic stuff. How was your weekend? This one I learned from my cousin because I used to work with her, and she was always curious to know, like, apart from work stuff, not hey, straight hit the ground running. So while you're changing the tail, or once they're finished, I'm just like, yeah, what you gonna do, man? Like, you have 1 2 days off. Are you gonna take your days off? How's your family? Is this that? So that was one thing I would do. The other thing I always used to do was make sure I catch them in the act of doing something, which I can say I really liked. I really like seeing that. Like I'm very happy to see that. Like to me, it mattered to me, so I used to do that to them, and I think it really helped a lot. So the customer comes second. Yes, this is what I was talking about. So the business success cycle is your leader, the team, then the customer, and then success. And that's how, so, which means that to the manager, the team comes first. We can never expect our people to treat the customer any different than we treat them. Sam Walton, I don't know. If you are the leader, you take care of your team. Don't worry about other customers. If you are working at the front lines dealing with customers, then you can put the customer first. Now, the role of the leader versus the team member and management. Leadership is about inspiring people so they want to follow. Management is about managing things. Yeah, you manage things, not people. A good leader can engage in a debate frankly and thoroughly, knowing that at the end, he and the other side must be closer and thus emerge stronger. That sounds, oh, it is a Nelson Mandela quote. Yeah, Nelson Mandela never wanted to annihilate his enemies or anything like that. He said, we need to come to a place where we both feel better about what has already happened and move from there and be stronger together. Okay, the 3 areas of leadership performance: set and demonstrate outstanding benchmarks for behavior and results. I used to do this by myself going out to show the team that look, even I'm going to go change the bins, even I'm going to go bend down and do the fuel dips, whatever it is. You do the easy thing. I'm going to show you the example. Build an outstanding team is number 2. Develop outstanding individuals is number 3. Ask yourself where your strengths are regarding these. What 2 areas do you need to focus on, and what behaviors do you need to start enacting more to achieve it? So I think it's so important that if you're in a position of any kind of leadership, power, whatever, anyone under you or anyone around you who can take that next step, help them to get that next step. Help them, pull them up, pull them up. There's a quote, I don't think it's a real quote, or maybe I imagined it, but I really like it. Don't look down on people, let people look up to you. So I've built quite a few amazing stuff, and I can't take the credit because they already had that amazingness in them. The situation leadership, 5 caps, and skill will, 4 quadrants. So that's a mouthful, but first things first is the 5 caps a leader wears depending on various roles and required outcomes. First cap is a leader, second is entrepreneur, third is manager, fourth is coach, and mentor is the fifth is mentor. So coach is asking while mentor is telling, but we'll get into that. So leader, number 1, leader, create an inspiring and compelling vision for your team. Set benchmarks for behavior and performance. Be a role model. Make the tough decisions. Entrepreneur is number 2. Provide ideas that will achieve the vision. Take action. Create an environment for growth and empowerment. Develop strategies that grows the business. Number 3 is manager. Manage things, processes, procedures, policies, systems, structure, events, compliance. It's delegation versus abdication. Communicating expectations of a person's role rather than just a job. Delegating responsibilities, not tasks. So expectations of the person's role rather than just the job. I think it would be, uh, I might just say his name, Ankit. There was a guy, he insisted, he used to come in every week. Can I get a job here? I really want a job. I'm like, look, I like your, um, uh, hired him. Then it was like, I'm like, I can see you're really good. You stick to the book and everything, but you don't always have to stick to the book, tick everything, and be that thorough. It's more about taking care of the store as a whole. You, as someone who's taking care of the store, taking care of the customers, as you must have ticked, yeah, you topped up some milk. But when you topped it up, did you rotate it? Did you make sure the dates were in order? So stuff like that. And he's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then once he got that into his head, he was unstoppable, man. He was so good. Yeah, okay. So the manager would also follow up, and I used to love following up with stuff. I'm like, how you going? Is there anything? I had three Qs. Do you have any questions, queries, or qualms? But it's on your mind. Think about with check in with you again, and you can tell me then. And usually by then they've opened up because they're like, look, this guy's interested in knowing what issues or things. And most of the time, apart from the same, it was a repeating issue which would be something I couldn't change anyway. It was policies. So I'd be like, look, this is policy, but as long as we're not breaking the rules, we can go around it in a way that works for everyone. But the most important thing I got from asking those three Qs was they always provided such amazing solutions. They're like, look, we've been doing things this way. If we do it this way, this is how things are going to happen. Or can we try it this way? Can I do this way? And I'm like, okay, why don't you do it? And if things work, then we can tell the rest of the team that we can move on to doing things that way. Follow up, you get what you inspect, not you expect. I've done a full video on the store manager's site walk. Soon, even before you sit on the thing, even before you talk to your staff or go in the store, you go out, you look at everything, inspect everything, make your notes, whatever. If the staff sees you doing that, they'll be like, oh, this guy is checking everything, so I better make sure things are in order. Communication structure and weekly one-on-ones. Weekly one-on-ones, I don't know if that's still valid because we have a WhatsApp group. We used to have different ways of communicating. Planning and organizing are key functions. Yep. Okay. So that's the manager. Now, coach is the fourth cap you would wear, and coach is the one who asks, provides the challenges, and we do to make it more efficient. What Kaizen is just using one step to get better at something. How can we apply Kaizen in this situation so we don't have sticking points and this and that? I think I have some videos on my channel for Kaizen. Create awareness of opportunities and new possibilities. So I don't know I can't think of an example of that right now. Develop people within the team to perform at their best through coaching and feedback. The coach focuses on potential rather than the performance. And this is what I was saying, where I was like, even just taking them for a few minutes, just to tell them, hey, I saw you doing that. I really liked how you handle that. I'm very happy that you did that. And oh, I also forgot to mention when I do that, a lot of the times I'll do it in front of other staff if they're around. Because there was one store we had like 13 staff, at least 3 to 5 on the go during the peak hours at least. So they'd be like, "Oh, this guy, he's just said something there." Mentor is number 5, the fifth cap you would be wearing, and mentor is telling. It provides advice and support when asked for areas of experience and areas of experience and experience. What do you mean area? Story. You can tell stories, create an environment where people believe that the leader cares for the needs, has trust and respects, listens and is a sounding board. A mentor is selected. So that cap you would wear if you were selected. What is your strongest cap and why? Which two caps do you need to develop more and how will that help? What will be the most challenging? Okay, so those are the questions you can ask about those five caps. The next one is the skill and will matrix. In that, it is someone with low will and high will, and then the table is high skill, low skill. So let's break it down. Yeah, let's start with the bottom feeder. Someone with low skill and low will, they are unhappy, amateur, and they need a mentor. They need someone to tell them how to get things done, show them, um, inspire them. What was it? And guide them, so you can move them to the other tables. So next one, let's go to low skill but high will. This person doesn't have the skill but has a very is very enthusiastic. They are keen amateur. They need the manager cap and they need good direction from the manager. Okay. Then we get to someone with high skill but low will. So they have a lot of talent, but they're cautious achievers. And I kind of cautious achiever just rings a bell for me as a person. But anyway, if you find someone like that, they need a leader cap. You need to wear your leader cap to inspire them. While someone with high will and high skill, they are enthusiastic achievers, and you need a coach cap. Ask them, and you would delegate things to them. Now, where so now that you have this table, you ask yourself, where are these people, my team members, where are they on this table, and what caps do I need to wear with them? What plan can I set up with them? And now that you have Chat GPT, I can already think of ways to use prompts to set up some kind of thing. But if you want me to do one of those, I'm more than happy to. Let me know. Um, Session 2, effective communication. Now, in effective communication, first thing we get to is effective delegation. And there are 7 degrees of delegation. Wait to be told and do exactly what I say. You look into this, provide analysis, I decide. I have a boss like that. You provide analysis and recommendations, I'll decide. You decide, let me know your decision, but wait for my go ahead. I have the same boss like that. You decide, inform me, go ahead unless I say otherwise. So basically, I see this in a boss. They would use this technique depending on what kind of situation it is. Oh, yeah, because it's called 7 degrees. So you can use different degrees at different times. That makes sense. So where did we get to? Number 6 is decide, take action, and inform. So decide to change the fuel prices at 6. Take action. Let me know it's done so I can switch it off. Or out of you three, one of you decide who does it. Take the action. Let me know. And then delegation. Decide and take action. You decide, you take the action. I don't need to know. It's like once we've gone through scheduled posts when I was a social media person, I would give a list of all these posts to go out. They'll be like, okay, you decide when to go out, take action. And it used to be something Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, something like that. Now, before delegating, define the task, then describe the task. Once you've defined it, you say, okay, this is what it looks like. Who? Delegate the task. Uh, access ability, develop the need. So do they have the skill and will? And number 5, decide degree of delegation, which is those 7 points we've just covered. Now, delegating, when you're delegating, inform the individual. Stewardship, delegation, where you focus on results, not methods. So don't focus on the method. I don't want to micromanage every step you're taking to you to see you taking a certain path, of course. As long as you get it done, following certain checkpoints, that's all good. Delegating desired outcomes, and then the next one is guidelines, agree, metrics. So there's the SMART analysis. I just saw it. Oh yeah, SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. Realistic is always where people get stuck after they've done all that. So I wish realistic was on top. Anyway, that's my wishes. So delegating, you have delegated resources, then you have your accountability, support, and feedback, and consequences. Okay. Now the next point is basic effective communication. The four keys to effective leadership communication: speak from the heart, care, genuine, honest, passion, emotion, connect, personal vulnerability. So a lot of the times I had to raise something which was, we used to call them file notes, kind of like a warning. I've made a file note saying we've had this conversation, this and that, and most of the time it always came down to safety. So I would talk to them and tell them, look, this is not about just the store or the company, because yeah, sure, they are insured, they have the money to fight or whatever it is, but it's your safety also, and you will be at a loss of, sometimes it was 10,000, 20,000 for whatever safety breaches they made and things like that. We're talking about fuel here, man. So take care of yourself. Use simple words so there is no misunderstanding. Oh yes. um, Keep it to 3 to 4 points. Link it to the cause. What is our cause? Remember, communication is 55% body, 38 tone, and 7% words. Communicating strategy and expectations. Reorder as you need. So, passions. Why? Example, as you know, our purpose and vision as an organization is da, 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 da. Clarity. How? Example, our strategy is da, 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 da. Focus is what? Example, to support this, our role and vision as a team is da, 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 da. This is the business expectation of us. So you're setting proper, solid expectations of why, how, what. Passion, clarity, focus. Okay. Accountability. Inspect. Shift focus from tasks to outcomes. So, oh, did you get it done? Doesn't matter. It's done. We've got the outcome. Process. Move your focus from process to people. You can have processes. We used to have so many, like a thick file full of all kinds of processes, but people would struggle dealing with it. So I used to create, customize. I think I still have some videos on my YouTube channel on how to process a refund, how to change the fuel, how to do this. Just so, to me, creating videos has always been something so helpful because it's so much easier for people to go back to watch it. They're using not only this, they're using more than one sense to take in information, which is always good. Compliance, move from compliance to customer. Okay, if you say so. I don't always fully agree, but yep. Purpose and goal of feedback. The main reason is to improve the person's awareness. Therefore, all feedback is positive. Okay, that's one way to frame it. Perception or intent, how I want or believe others see me, is one thing. There's this whole self-awareness gap, and then there's the reality or impact, how my behavior impacts others. Two types of feedback. There's constructive, positive. This is aimed at reinforcing positive behaviors. So that's what it's called. Behaviors continue. Yep. And the second one is constructive, corrective, or negative. This is aimed at changing negative behaviors. So behaviors that need to start, that need to change, or that need to stop. Feedback versus praise. Praise is taken positively and does not reinforce anything. Good job, keep it up versus I appreciate what you do, you contribute, great questions, timely reports. That's more specific, telling how it benefits, how it's helping make things easier, more efficient, all that. It's more specific and nurtures the good. Now, feedback versus criticism. Criticism is taken personal, while feedback is about behavior and is constructive. You were very unprofessional versus I noticed the customer waiting and you didn't acknowledge them. I see you were busy. In future, it's important that you make eye contact and acknowledge them. In our thing was the thing was like even before they reached the counter, we're like, I'll be with you. I see you there. I'll be with you as soon as I finish over here. I'm coming just now. Three golden rules of feedback. Okay, you have to be specific, fact-based, and behavior based on what people say or do. So let's go back to specific. Focus on time, place, meeting, email, phone call, date. Be specific. Fact cannot be based on someone's perception of you. Behavior based on say or do. Because of this, you can't give feedback on attitude. The right balance is a mix. The right balance is to mix both positive and corrective feedback, turning the feedback sandwich into a lasagna. Because usually you get that feedback sandwich, yeah? Oh, you're doing great, but we need to know. And I really appreciate it. But this one, they're saying make a lasagna instead of sandwich. Now we're going to use the peer model for giving feedback, which is permission, example, effect, result. So permission. Ask the person for permission to give some feedback so that they are open and actively listen. If they're not available, say it's really important that we have this conversation. When would be a good time? I'd like to preempt this already, like just say, hey, look, once you finish your shift, I really want to have a conversation with you about certain things. So let's find some time for that. And I wouldn't be that vague also. I would just be like, look, just need to give you some feedback on uh, how good you're doing or some improvement tips, stuff like that. Okay, so PER, we've done P. Next one is E, example, use above three golden rules. Use above three golden rules. Specific fact-based behavior, okay? Effect or impact is the next E. Explain what impact this has on their performance and environment. When you're having an argument with your partner, you would do the same. You'd use I statements. I feel this when so and so happens. Result. What is the change in behavior or continuation in behavior you want to see? I should even say stop in behavior. Anyway, change should be good enough. Now, receiving feedback, be prepared for this because I go through it, my wife goes through it, we both go through it when we give each other feedback. First, shock and surprise. Where did this come from? Next is rejection. Just really going against it. Then we take the info with us. While we're chewing on it, digesting it, we go into denial. Like, nah, can't be, nah, nah. And then we start reflecting, like, you know what? I do see it now. I do see it. And then you accept. At session 3, effective performance conversations, 4 personality styles, and adjusting the communication. Apparently, it's not covered. Driver, expressive, analytical, amiable, dominance, influence, steadiness, conscientious. So this is like the big 5. Look, when we go into these personalities, there's so many different types. There's the personality, there's anagrams, there's the big 5. So I can see why it wasn't covered. Asking quality questions. The questions you ask will be answered loudly or mentally. Think pink elephant. So when I worked in the prisons, I really appreciated one manager, Tony. He was thrown into the deep end to manage us, and we were not taking anything. Whatever job we had, Every day we would do the same. Any extra we would say no to unless we had time, and we never had time. We hardly had time. Or one of my bosses had to stay a bit later, my line managers. But Tony came in and he would ask question, okay, if you can't do this, where do you think I can find it? Okay, if you don't know, who do you think I can ask? How can we do this? What? Oh, I loved it. I looked up to him so much, man. He was such a cool guy. Always had some nice shirts. Okay, so asking quality questions. Number one, open questions start with what, when, who, how, where, why. So I think this is also news presenters and interviewers, what do you call them? Journalists. Those are their main questions. Require descriptive answers and promote awareness and responsibility. So that's what they do. Good to get further into. They are good to get. They are good to get. Okay. Point number two is closed questions start with can, do, have. Is this something? Can you do this? Do you have? Have you got some? Those are yes or no answers. They are okay to ask, good to confirm facts. Yep. Coaching tool using the GROW model. So GROW is goals, reality, options, and way forward. So goals is establish a purpose, use SMART, which we've talked about. Reality is ensure nature, scope, and overall difference between goals being set and the reality of the current situation. Yep. Uh, Options encourage coachee to explore alternatives and possible action plans they could take. So find options and way forward. Choose a course of action and explain why it will succeed. Test commitment and understand barriers. Be specific on time and lock in the next coaching session. Yep, this looks like also good sales call techniques. And we break this goal session further into the kind of questions we can ask in all four situations. So let's go. In goals is what current issues are you facing? What objectives are needed to address this issue? How will you know when you achieve it? What would success look like and would others see it that way? What would you like from me to achieve this? What will give you the most value to talk about? What do you need to walk away from this conversation feeling it's well spent time? Okay, what do you need? What would you like to be different when you leave this session? What would you like to happen that is not happening now? Now, out of all these questions, one really picked me. What would success look like? I know that bit, but they've added a bit which is, and would others see it that way? So that's a very nicely put question. Okay, now we're going into the coaching tool reality questions. What effect does this have? How might you have contributed to this situation? What other factors are relevant? How do you think they see this situation? What have you tried so far? What are the three most significant factors contributing to this, and how would you rank them? Next one is for options. What are your options, and what can you do to change it? What action have you used in similar situations? What would the best case scenario look like? What else could you do? What else? What else? Oh, so what else could you do? Once they give you some answers, keep digging for more. What if some constraints were removed? What are ups and downs for each option? Who might be able to help? Okay. And then finally, what will, when? What are the next steps? Exactly what will you do? Which option can be achieved in this time frame? What might get in the way? What support do you need? Who and when will you enlist the support? What are the consequences of not doing it? I really like those ones. What will these actions be? When will these actions be completed? What would you like me? What would you like from me in terms of accountability? And there you have it, folks. This is done. I think we've gone over. It's pretty long, but yeah, feel free to ask any further questions, and I shall link in the notes also. See you in the next one.